S23 Ultra, phone of the year. Yep. I honestly hate to say it. I don't, because it's been very good, and I'm pretty respectful of a lot of different brands when they put out good products. And I've been talking about it all year. A lot of people have been talking about this phone all year, and well, it's held up really well, even at the end of the year. And that's one thing that surprises me. And I said something early on when I got the phone that I said it's scary to me that this early in the year, people are calling it phone of the year, but it's possible. It's possible because Samsung puts out such a good product. But the crazy thing is, they basically do it first. I mean, Xiaomi and a couple other brands might beat them to the punch globally or in China, but in the United States, they're always the first one to come out with the new chip for the year. So that was a Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. And if we look back at what we got with the S22 Ultra last year, by and large, the phone was pretty good. But what was handicapping it from being such a great phone was the Snapdragon 8 Generation 1 with the heat issues and the throttling issues and the poor battery life. And those were things that I really looked for. And I remember reading about the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. And I'm like, oh, man, I have a hard time believing what they're saying about how good it is. But if it actually lives up to the hype and does what it says it's going to do, it's going to be a game changer for this phone and the whole year. And I couldn't talk about it back then, but I already had my hands on the OnePlus 11. I had it weeks before it came out, and I had it before the S23 Ultra came out. And I was seeing such marvelous things in the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2 that fixed all the problems with the OnePlus 10. It fixed the battery life, it fixed the throttling, it fixed the heat issues, and it was just such a good chip. So I'm like, I was really excited for the S23 Ultra series. So, yeah, amazing that that one little thing did so much for the phone. And of course, they changed the design on the edges slightly. It's, kind of got a little bit more boxy appearance. It still has the industry-leading, unbeatable S Pen, which that's pretty much why you buy this phone. If you don't want an S Pen, I don't know why you buy this phone, other than it's just big and gigantic. And also because there's not really an alternative, because the S23 Ultra, well, the S23 Plus, not quite on the same level in my eyes. You're losing on the cameras. You're losing on the Quad HD Plus. You're not getting the LTPO screen. So there's a few things. So I could see, I guess, why you would buy it. But that's a frustration. That's a point of frustration I have with Samsung that I think they're finally rectifying with the S24 Plus, because it looks like it's going to finally have a Quad HD Plus screen. Hopefully it's got an LTPO screen like this, and I'm pretty sure it won't have the same camera as the Ultra, but it'll get us a little bit closer to where we need to be. But the S23 Ultra has been a fantastic phone. Power, performance, sophistication, 200 megapixel camera, 256 gigabytes of baseline storage, no more 128. Beautiful screen, 1750 nits max brightness. And here's the thing. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it's not 2000 nits. It's not 2400 nits. This is a big, beautiful, bright screen. It's got the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner. It's got facial recognition. It's got fantastic speakers. It's got amazing battery life, probably the best battery life of any flagship phone that I've used this year. And the cameras are really good. I know a lot of people are like, well, it's not the greatest at with the shutter speed. And yes, even though they have a mode where you can enhance the shutter speed, where it does sacrifice a little bit of quality to give you a faster shutter speed, it's just these darn large sensors they use. I think that's what it is, because it's got the 200 megapixel sensor. There's a lot of data it's like trying to do all at once. So before that was the 108. Everybody else is using 48s or using 12s or using, usually when you have a smaller megapixel size, the camera works a little bit faster. But 50 megapixel seems to be the sweet spot for a lot of manufacturers. So I think moving forward, and I think that's probably the biggest criticism. Most people, when they talk about this, they talk about two things, negative-wise. One being the shutter speed, which I think is fine for most things. But if it's like up close, you want to get a good shot of your kid or your moving pet that's waggling its tail and moving around, it might not always come out as crisp as the really fast shutter speed you get on the iPhone and the Pixel. They need to fix that. They need to make that a priority. And the other thing is people talk about One UI. They don't like it. They think it looks kiddie. They talk about it being bloatware. And I really don't get the bloatware argument. One, because you can delete most everything. But it's like, okay, they have the Samsung Messages app. They have Samsung Pay instead of just using Google Pay. They have a couple of their own apps. Samsung works Android from the ground up on top of it, giving you their own experience. And that's what it is. The Samsung phone is an experience. It's not stock Android like you get with the Google. There's a lot of things that they do in here, and I think they do pretty well. And also you got the 120 hertz refresh rate, Quad HD Plus screen. You can even change the resolution down and lower it if you want to get better battery life, if you don't care about the Quad HD Plus. There's so much thought put into the experience on this phone that it really does make it kind of stand alone from a lot of other phones. And then up until the Google Pixel 8 came out, it was industry leading when it came to software and security updates. I mean, they've still been Johnny on the spot all year, all last year with the software updates, security patches, and they were giving you 4 years of operating system updates, 5 year security patches. That was better than Google. Up until the Pixel 8 came out, they were doing 3 years of operating system updates, 5 years of security patches, and now they went to 7 and 7. So I'm curious to see how Samsung retaliates with that whenever they come out with the S24. I'd like to just see 5 and 5 across the board. I think that's pretty realistic. I think when you look at what we get, how long battery technology is good for, and just how things change in the market. Like, there's so many changes when you look at a phone from 5 years ago to today in so many different areas. And also, yeah, it's just been a good experience. Like I said, and you got the S Pen, you got beautiful screen, big phone, all day battery life, great support, great security patches, and man, it got the 100 times super zoom as well. Plus you can do macro shots. A lot of people really love the 100 times zoom. You've got the 10 time telephoto or telescopic telephoto on here, and you can reach out and touch stuff. You can take pictures from far away. I don't really care that much about it, but I know a lot of people really like it. And my kids, like my son, he has it on his phone. He absolutely loves it. He's always shooting pictures of the moon and other stuff. So I get it. It's a feature I don't want to lose, but I think that it does have a place here. And if we can get this 200 megapixel camera dialed in and get it a little bit faster, I think they'll be able to do some amazing things once we get the S24. So it's not the perfect phone. But when you take a look at what Apple brought to the table with the iPhone, you take a look at what Google brought to the table, and I said the Google Pixel 8 Pro was the most improved phone from last year, and I stand by that. But this one, with the level of refinement, the capabilities, nothing still touches Dex out there, which a lot of people really like the desktop software Dex that's on here. It's fantastic. And there's nothing that's anywhere near close to it that you get in any other phone. Like, there's some other phones that kind of try, and it's nice that they have it. I hope they get better, but there's nothing like Dex. And you can use it wired, you can use it wirelessly. They've always got good trade-in deals, except for the beginning of the year. Like the initial trade-in deals was like $500, $550 for an S22 Ultra, which was the lowest they've offered in a long time. But then just a few months later, they're like, oh, here's $800. So I think we'll probably see that with the S24 if you want my opinion on it. If you don't, I don't know you're watching my video. But if you want my opinion on it, I think that we may see that happen again with the S24 Ultra. I think we'll probably see not as high trade-in values for the S24, but Samsung has said they want to increase their sales on the S24 series by 10% over this year. So I think their philosophy this year was, look, early adopters are going to buy it anyway. We'll save those sales to entice people who might not otherwise buy it. But I don't really know anybody who I've recommended this phone to this year who's not been really happy with it. I don't know hardly anybody other than a few people complaining about the shutter speeds who are like, yeah, I don't love this phone. It's so good. I think it's going to be good for 5 years. I think 3-4 years out of this thing is still going to be a really good experience. There's so much good things going on for it. And it's tough. Because I know I said the iPhone 15 Pro Max, as good of a phone as it is, I just don't think it's quite phone of the year material. I think they didn't improve in as many ways as the Samsung did. I think that they haven't, of course, had as many good deals. And, of course, they don't have Dex. They don't have the S Pen. There's, like, different things they don't have. So, yeah, I think when you take a look at capabilities, when you take a look at power, sophistication, reputation, brand, support, I think that this, for me, the S23 Ultra is the phone of the year. And even though that's with me loving the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V, that's my favorite phone, but that doesn't mean that it's the best phone across the board for everybody. And that's where I hang my hat on this one. So that's all I got. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think your phone of the year is. I'd love to hear that in the comment section. I know there's going to be people who don't agree with me, and that's fine. Everybody has their own benchmarks. Everybody has their own criteria. Everybody has their own things they look at. So this is not to slight anybody or their opinion. It's just, at the end of the year, kind of thinking about it. Yeah, and I've been talking about it all year long. I think it's the best phone Samsung's ever made. And even though there's foldables and flippables and all those things, I still think from a mainstream perspective, what people are looking for, I think this is it. So that's all I got. If you have any questions or comments, please go to the comment section. We can discuss it there. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.